Welcome to episode 68 of the Concealed Taco Dudes podcast. I almost forgot what we were doing.
Yay! Yay!
This episode is brought to you by the Bulldog Bakery.
It is.
Did you get a package?
I got a package.
with cookies as big as your face and as thick as Carl's skull?
Yep, absolutely. And I got some pretzels that are as big as Stan's.
What?
Yep.
I didn't get any pretzels.
As big as the rest of Stan.
Wow.
Yeah.
What gives, Patrick? All I got were cookies.
Well, they're excellent cookies.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, Patrick. It was very generous.
Bulldogbakery.com, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, hit them up, especially if you're in Chicago.
Especially if you're in Chicago. Worth checking out. Let's hit some other featured sponsors. What do you got, Mark?
Well, how about we talk about NOE? We've been using the NOE studios for a few months now, and it's wonderful, but not near as wonderful as the bullet molds.
Okay.
I've been actually on a couple of Facebook groups, especially one about the 45-70 caliber.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody thinks that NOE is kind of the gold standard.
Yeah. I can see that. For sure.
There is a code for NOE. What is it?
It is FLT001. That saves you 10%. That'll save you 10% on a Dillon press, too.
Which is amazing, yeah. If you want to blow
huge.
A couple grand on reloading supplies, do it here for 10% off.
For sure. How
about Tackware?
Tackware.com?
We'll introduce our guest in a minute, but we have to explain that Tackware makes a tactical titanium toothpick. It's absolutely amazing.
It's actually an eyeball gouger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your daily carry gear, flashlights, are they
Titanium grappling hooks?
Yes. Just everything you can imagine. Hit them up, especially on the flashlights.
Yeah.
Great stuff. They have a code too.
They do.
And I don't remember any of these codes.
Taco 10.
Taco 10.
Taco 10 will also save you 10% at tackware.com.
And I came into the studio this evening and have, looks like about 50 pieces of newly Teflon stuff from Black Ice Coatings.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're exploring how to do in mass and as affordably as possible how to use the spring clips
for the mag holders.
For the new generation mag holders out of Teflon. So they're creative. So don't think of it as just doing coatings. I mean, they do everything from car engines to ATVs and snowmobiles and everything.
The engine pieces on that Dodge Challenger were amazing.
Camo. You open it up, you can just see the ground?
No.
What was it?
It was this really cool, like, ghost skull pattern all over, I don't know, engines, so on engine
the
parts.
Inside of the car.
You popped the hood and it was like, oh my gosh. It was really cool.
I do remember this code, Slickery.
Yeah, use the code Slickery. We don't know if it'll give you a discount or not, but it's fun to say. So, I was just at Black Ice Coatings before I came to the studio.
Well, it's funny because I always get calls from you and Taco and everybody. You guys are down there like every day.
Not quite, but I took Grandma down with her AR-15 to get some color on it.
You did?
Yes, we've talked about the AR build I did for my neighbor's mother, who is in fact a grandma.
Neat.
And she was super excited. In fact, we were down there and she's like, "This is what I want for my AR," and she had been looking at his Instagram page and there was a pistol on there that was the frame was in a rose gold and the slide was in a titanium.
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh, but I like this too. What should I do?" And then she just went, "Oh, I have a pistol. I'll just bring that down and get it done in the other one."
So Grandma's whipping out her gat.
Yeah. So she's like just super excited to put some color on these guns that she's got. And
you hear that? Grandma had a pistol.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a pistol.
We'll that will make sense in a minute. Anyway, Slickery.
Yes, Slickery at blackicecoatings.com. And make sure you follow them on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff too. So you can see the fine work that we are talking about. Listener feedback. I've got some interesting listener feedback today.
We have listeners?
We do. We have to excuse Taco. he is apparently buried in computer upgrade
He's got his
stuff.
He's got his priorities screwed up.
Yeah.
He could be down here working on this podcast for you guys, but instead he's working for the man.
Yep, he is working for the man.
He needs to be more libertarian.
Nothing to show for it but a couple gun safes full of guns.
Entirely full of guns.
Okay, let's jump in. This first one says, "Hey there, taco dudes. Thomas here, Salt Lake City airport guy.
Oh, Thomas.
Winner of Mag Holder dash Mag 40 and Gun Dudes Mag 80 grad. Just listening to episode 67 about needing a gun in the middle of the night. At about 1:06, Mark mentioned Ambien. That's the time. That's important that we know what time in the episode.
Oh, I thought he was listening to it at 1:06 in the morning.
Could have been.
Thomas is a cool guy. I fly in and out of Salt Lake City a lot, and occasionally he's the gate agent that checks us in. He actually let my family on with the premium customers one time.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't want to get him in trouble, but anyway, he works for Southwest and he bent all the rules. It was great.
Nice. So anyway, in episode 67, Mark here mentioned Ambien night terrors.
Yes.
Not mentioned, but also applicable diabetic episodes, which we've talked about those in previous episodes as well.
I'm about to have one.
Oh, don't do that. and adding extra steps to gain access to your gun. So if you're using Ambien, if you're prone to any other kind of medical things. You
don't want it under your pillow.
Right. Maybe adding a couple extra steps to get to your gun in the middle of the night, just as an extra precaution against yourself.
Yes.
So he said, just posing a thought or question to which I don't know the answer. He says, one particularly hellish week, I was overworked and way short on sleep. In the morning, my alarm went off. Rather than turn off the alarm, my sleep-deprived brain got access to my Glock.
Oh, no.
For some reason, it wouldn't snooze. He apparently wasn't pulling the trigger to try and snooze it. He's slapping his Glock, I can see. He says, I went through a complete retrieve the gun, unload chambered round, lock slide back, chamber check, and field stripped, including trigger pull. While taking the barrel out, my wife anxiously asked me what I was doing with my gun and woke the other half of my brain.
Oh, no.
There was no Ambien, melatonin, Unisom, alcohol, or any other medication in play.
Sure, we believe that.
Only pure exhaustion. I could be wrong, but I think the half of my brain that was working couldn't have opened any safe obstacles to accomplish what I knew needed to be done.
But so he can literally field strip his Glock while he's
asleep.
That's good to know.
He's as good as those little Russian girls that can disassemble and assemble an AK blindfolded.
Yeah, on YouTube.
He says, I still remember my confusion of the snooze button not working. Oh, it was his mag release was the snooze button.
Wow.
That's was fortunate that it was not the trigger.
So he's going to be blacklisted for many future
slumber parties?
No, well, yeah.
He says, and the terror after I realized what could have happened. He says, don't underestimate the power of an alerted mind. Not yours, not that diabetic guy trying to take out the transit police. That would be you.
That would be me.
Or that guy mumbling as he's walking towards you in the dark parking lot. Sorry so long, but this awoke some big thoughts as I pondered possible options that would still be faster to employ that Jason's soft shotgun case and still be reasonably secure. And that's the trick, is keeping something reasonably secure but still accessible when you need it. But he didn't have anything in play here other than exhaustion.
That's pretty shocking, actually.
Yeah.
Field strip your Glock while you're asleep.
Right.
Well, so thanks, Thomas. I really appreciate that feedback. I'm curious what other listeners are doing
what do you guys do?
I mean, have you ever scared yourself with your own weapon? Not like, negligent discharge or anything, but have you ever found yourself not in full running 100%? Have you ever found yourself in possession of something dangerous like your weapon?
Yeah. I know Stan who is notoriously tired.
Right.
When we recorded early mornings during the gun dudes days and stuff like that, he would not carry his gun because
That's
he
true.
was so tired. He's like, no, I'm not capable or safe to have it right now, which is a very responsible thing to do.
True. It seems like
Mostly he's just lazy. I don't want to get the gun out of the safe and put it on my belt.
we're making all these cracks about our guest, which will become apparent sooner. But it sounds like UPS just sucks the life out of you.
It does. So do you have any advice for Thomas on what he could do? I don't know. It's hard to give him advice because I don't know where the gun was. I don't know if he accessed a gun safe to get it, but it sounds like it was probably
like
sitting on his nightstand,
yeah.
which I don't think is an ideal solution.
His
but
kids are older.
that could be.
I think he might almost be an empty nester.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I would say in a situation like that, maybe at least have it in a drawer
maybe
or something so that you have an extra step that you have to do that isn't necessarily punching buttons or doing a code. Because I know I've stopped locking my handgun safe at night just because I know, because it's dark and I'm disoriented, it'd take me 10 minutes to get that stupid little
But
handgun
if you're
safe
disoriented,
open.
maybe it should take you 10 minutes.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, this is going to be, I think, a topic that's going to linger for a few weeks. But I would like more listener feedback on this. It'd be great.
If you have experience like Thomas's or mine that we talked about, or if you have already taken precautions to avoid a situation like that, let us know so we can disperse the information to the masses. All 10 people that are listening
Exactly.
can be safer. Oh, I have more feedback.
Well, by all means.
Should I read it?
Yeah, blow it all
Okay.
in one episode.
Anthony K. says, I was just listening to the last podcast and heard you talking about figuring out a name for an air tank holder. So I have talked about the carrier stand thing that I am building for the air tanks for air guns.
For our guests, it's basically like a scuba tank. And
there's one sitting over there.
yeah, anyway.
They're round on the bottom, so they
you can't set them anywhere.
they're also round on the sides.
Yeah, exactly. They roll forever.
They're big and cumbersome and don't sit still. And so I've
And they don't have
developed
handles either.
I've developed this product, but I'm looking for a name. Almost all of my products on my website have a snake name.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
But Anthony K suggests, how about Puff Adder, since it
That's
adds
a good
puffs
idea.
to your air gun.
That's not bad.
Keep up the good work. Yeah, that one isn't bad. Taco, of course, likes the garter.
The garter, yeah.
Tank garter. Anyway, not a bad suggestion. Anthony, thank you. Morgan G. And this is, I don't know if it was last episode or when we were talking about attaching your phone to your scope of your gun and being able to film live through your scope, magnified targets and things that you're shooting. And we didn't know what it was called or stuff like that. Morgan G says, I use a phone scope for my spotting scope. They also have an adapter for rifle scopes. I do not know the durability of these rifle recording adapters. But I think that is what they are, is a phone scope.
It's too bad. We'll have to give these images to Taco, but I was up at Huntsman Cancer Center, and the pathologist was like in the other room. He left his microscope.
So naturally you had to fiddle with it.
Yeah, well, we had to pluck hairs from our head and look at them under the microscope. And I got a bunch of good pictures through my iPhone. So I'll have to show you guys them.
Okay.
But I apparently have gigantic split ends.
Oh, well, I could have told you that. Awesome. That is all the listener feedback that we have this week. At least all that was worth mentioning.
So we're going to have to talk about what we did with guns this week, but we're going to have to ask our guest.
So Taco's not here, as I mentioned. Carl and Stan are still driving, as Saturday is a is when we usually record. That's Halloween, so we decided to record Friday night. So they're still out on the road, couldn't be here. So you have me and Mark, and we have a special guest who will help us with our topic.
He's the most famous person that we've ever met.
It's true. It's true. And he was expensive to get on the show, so we don't want to waste
let's
our money.
Get to it.
But we have Kyle Burgess here.
That should be our trivia question. Does anybody write in and say,
Who is Kyle Burgess?
Everybody knows Kyle Burgess.
You may not know his name, but you know who he is.
You know what I did.
Let's just leave it at that for now until we get to our topic. Let's talk about what we did with guns this week. We'll start with you, Mark, and then we'll give Kyle a shot.
I actually purchased one of those magnetic car mount holster things just to try. My local PD, a lot of the guys mount them in their patrol cars, and they carry their backup gun there.
Oh.
So it's interesting.
In the patrol car, like on the side console?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because it's, a lot of them carry it back.
Well, they have limited options of where they can carry it back.
There's not a lot of real estate. So anyway, I got one of these because my wife wanted to try it.
Okay.
And we're going to install that. And so I received it and have not yet installed it.
Okay.
But that also means I get to go out in the desert and go shooting with my wife. So
there you go. So I actually talked about this a little bit with Lee over at Black Ice today, mounting a pistol somewhere in the vehicle so you've got good access to it and stuff like that. And he's got a unique option that I haven't seen before that we're going to play with.
Really?
So that we can mount a holstered gun right by his leg.
Neat.
And have good access to it.
With more security than just hanging out there?
Yes. Yeah. And for those of you...
I feel like you're judging me already.
No. I don't think those are a bad option. The main thing I don't like about them is it leaves your gun completely exposed.
It does.
So, and I know a lot of people just leave their guns there because they don't put them on them when they get out of the car, and that's a problem.
That is bad. My neighbor is a newly sworn police officer, and in the 8 shifts that he's been covering since being sworn in, they've taken 6 stolen gun reports from vehicles.
Because they can see it in the car, or
they're just breaking into cars.
It's a big truck. I know there's a pistol in the glove box.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, but his thought, and I agree with this, is that's 6 more guns illegally on the street.
Right.
So
yeah. So one of the things I've made, and this is on my Instagram and Facebook pages, I had a woman that I was making some other holsters for, had a Glock 19, wanted to be able to carry it in her Jeep. This was like a brand new Jeep Wrangler. And so I was apprehensive about drilling holes and putting screws and stuff in. No modifications to the vehicle whatsoever. Basically, in her center console, which is quite deep, I built a pretty sturdy Kydex
backer.
Yeah, kind of like a stanchion. We'll call it a stanchion. that goes down, has a 90-degree turn, and mounted to a bigger plate that sat on the floor of that center console. Then the rubber mat that it came with, that's form-fitted, slid right in over the top of it, held it all in place, and a nice fold-over taco-style holster with retention was mounted to that.
That sounds cool.
And it worked awesome. And I have some other ideas for, maybe you're going to carry a different gun. We're working on a system where different holsters will just snap in and out of the same mount.
I'm looking up the definition of stanchion. It is an upright bar, post, or frame forming a support or barrier.
See? I used that term perfectly.
You did. Congratulations. Oh, it's also a frame that holds the head of a cow in place to facilitate milking.
Yeah, it'll do that too. It'll definitely do that. So just to sum up, what you did with guns this week is bought a magnet.
I bought a magnet.
Okay. Thanks for sharing.
We're all so proud of you.
Good.
Kyle, you're new here. Did you do anything with guns or?
Well, as you guys are talking about the guns...
We'll give you more than a week.
Yeah, you can ask what's the most memorable recent thing that you did with a gun?
Well,
I can think of
They
something
can
you
talk
did
about-
without a gun, but we'll talk
you're
about
right,
that
you're
later.
right. There's a lot of things I could do without a gun. No, when you're talking about putting the guns in like a stanchion in your car, my mom's 4Runner actually, the center console you pull up, and there's like a little like piece on that folds up, and my gun just slides right in there perfectly. That's already
nice.
Inside, like it's my holster.
Oh, nice.
It like clips on there. Like,
Perfect.
Perfect.
Jason should sue them for patent infringement.
Yeah. I've actually been looking at 4Runners.
But yeah, it fits in there perfect, and almost snaps. Like the clip snaps into it's like just for papers and stuff.
Right.
But it fits in there. So whenever I took my mom's 4Runner, I was like, oh, this is cool.
That is cool.
Nice. So, anything other than playing with your mom's 4Runner? Hiding your gun in her car?
Yeah, planting of the gun so when she gets pulled
No, that's
over.
just when I take her 4Runner for the weekends and go up off-roading or something like that. But I mean, past week, messing around with my AR pistol. I have an AR pistol as well as a Strybog.
What's a Strybog?
A little 9mm.
I haven't heard of it. Do you know what a Strybog is?
I don't.
If you know what a Strybog
sure
is,
Taco-
write into concealedtacodudes@gmail.com.
So, have you been following the news about AR pistols?
I have.
Yeah, that's spooky.
Kind of scared,
Yeah,
to be honest with
Fill
you.
us all in. What's the latest?
I don't remember the name of the company, but they were issued the ATF sent them a letter saying that a cease and desist, and so the entire company is like put to a screaming halt
And-
because they, in a description, I think it might have been on an ad,
Mm-hmm.
they actually used the term accidentally. They used the correct term brace all over the place, but somebody goofed and said the word stock. And all of a sudden, this entire company is shut down now.
Yeah. You can't mix your words.
No.
The ATF will come after you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they said they might count as like an AOW, so any other
Yeah.
weapon.
Right.
So any AR pistol or AR, AK, anything like that, they'll count as a,
And this is even
AOW.
before the election.
yeah,
So,
Wow.
scary stuff.
Wow. Okay.
but so you're a gun guy.
Yeah,
Cool.
maybe.
At least a part-time gun guy. We'll go with that. I sold a gun. I sold my I think you were there when I got it. Maybe you, yeah, I think you were.
Which?
That Heritage Arms single action 22,
Oh,
the
yeah.
NRA edition one.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I got the same day I won the gun safe at the NRA banquet.
Yes.
That was a good day for me.
That was a
I
good
came
day.
out with a few other things too.
What'd you sell it for?
$100.
That's not bad.
No.
It was just 22 long rifle, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
You can get a 22 mag cylinder for it, but I never did. I just never shot it. I thought my kids would like it, but they prefer real guns.
Real guns.
Semi-autos, you know.
Right.
But, so yeah, I sold that. No biggie. And then today, actually just a few hours ago, I bought a Glock 43,
Neat.
which,
Where'd you find it?
Discount Guns and Ammo.
Was
Actually,
it a G43 regular? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm anti-43X.
Yeah. Okay, this is a whole conversation. What? Why?
Because the Glock 43 is a ideal concealed carry gun.
It is a tiny,
Okay.
tiny gun. And if
What part of the gun do you have the hardest time concealing?
my butt? I mean, the gun's
Your
butt.
butt? Yeah, the grip.
Yeah, the grip,
So why make a little gun with a great big long grip on it?
because it holds a lot more ammo.
So it makes it harder to conceal also.
How often have you been out and noticed somebody carrying because they've been quote printing?
Well, I don't look at people that way, Mark. That would be inappropriate.
Okay, gotcha.
But to
Well-
answer your question, no, I carry a SIG P365 because it's small, shootable,
Right.
and has lots of passive.
And not the XL now, because you sold that, right?
I did sell my XL, but that was not because I didn't want it. It was because my friend needed it more.
Got it. That's
So-
why I sold I bought a 48 and I had a 43,
Yeah,
and I mixed them up. So
Yeah.
I had a 43X.
I did that too.
Yeah, and the 48XL or whatever.
You
43,
put the
yeah.
long slide. You put the 48 slide and barrel on a regular 43,
Yeah,
and you get a long slide 43.
long slide 43.
That's a pretty sweet combination, actually.
It is, but it only holds 6 rounds in the stock
Right.
mag.
Right.
But-
Again, that's why you carry a P365.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll second that because that's what I carry as well.
See, What
deal.
do you carry, Mark?
I'm not carrying anything today.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Scary. It's because you're low on your insulin.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, that's what I did. And I've noticed in the last week, we'll get into this a little bit. So that's what we did with guns. We have a news story or a future news story.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the news that's going to happen next week. So I follow a guy named Greg Elfritz. He's a kind of a moderately well-known gun author. He's an ex-cop and does a lot of, training and medical stuff too. So
Okay.
he's a good guy.
He sounds like a Renaissance man.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of talking about, self-defense in the news, what we wanted to do is kind of look forward a little bit and do a little bit of preparation for what may happen with civil unrest and so forth.
You think there's going to be civil unrest?
I can almost guarantee it.
So, what's your prediction for next week? What do you foresee happening?
Well, no matter what happens, there's going to be half the population that is profoundly disappointed.
What half of the population do you think is most likely to cause a problem?
You're actually asking that question?
Yeah.
The other half. If Trump wins, I think we may see, there's been very credible threats of violence. Walmart has stripped their stores of guns and ammunition. They moved it all back in the warehouse.
The back room, okay.
And businesses are boarding up in major cities. They're boarding up their shops, just like preparing for a hurricane. So it's kind of a big deal. Understanding that, I actually work for a fairly large medical company, and we just got a bulletin about election safety.
Interesting. None of this is, to my knowledge, I can't think of any other time that this has been a subject.
Exactly.
But if I'm being totally honest with you guys, before we even talked about this, I sent a text out to my kids, okay? Hey, just make sure you guys have enough food and stuff so you don't have to leave the house for the next week or two if something happens.
So you just basically gave the Cliff Notes version of Greg Elfritz here.
Yeah.
Just read a couple of quick paragraphs. We won't spend a lot of time reading, but election-related violence is increasing. So are the reported rates of COVID-19 positive tests.
Yeah.
Which is also
it's going
true.
Through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Utah now. We're testing 16 or 17% positive.
Wow.
That's extraordinary.
So, and they're also saying that our hospitals are starting to get to capacity and overloading. I know you're in and out of hospitals all the time. Are you seeing a lot more activity? And maybe you wouldn't based on where you are in the hospital.
Actually, yes. They're starting to look at closing down elective procedures again.
Okay.
And by elective, that means cancer treatment. Does anybody in here think that treating cancer is elective?
Not so much.
Right, exactly.
Seems kind of a critical, important thing. I don't know.
But, it is. But then what he goes on to talk about is that maybe the public policy people are using COVID as a tool to lock everything down and health directives and so forth to try to shut down and maybe minimize the effects of the protests about the election. So do you think our politicians are that unethical that they would use one thing as a tool to achieve something else?
That's what makes them politicians.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think? And I don't know if I didn't read the article because I wanted to be spontaneous.
Right.
And I'm lazy. Did he say anything about what he felt like the outcome would be if Biden was elected? Are people concerned about riots and all that if Biden gets elected?
No. But
interesting.
There are some people like the fruitcakes that were going to kidnap the governor in Michigan. So there could be some fringe.
There's always somebody.
Yeah, right. But
I find that interesting that the group that by and large likes to point their fingers at the gun owners as being angry, dangerous, violent people are the ones most likely to create havoc and riots and destruction
Yep.
if they don't get their way.
That's true. His prognostication is that.
Is that a real word? Look that up.
Yeah, I think there will be mass looting and a lot of people hurt and killed. The police will be unwilling / unable to stop this violence.
Yeah.
The cops will be the target for many of the protesters.
That is
So how are they going to come protect you if they're the
If
ones?
they're the targets.
If they're the targets, right.
Yeah.
They will have their hands full just trying to stay alive. They won't be coming to help you. Fire, EMS won't respond to dangerous locations without
Yeah.
a police escort, so they may not be coming either. Here's where it kind of gets off into the COVID thing. Governments will institute another pandemic lockdown. That
Yeah.
has been talked about. We in Utah received basically the equivalent of an Amber Alert today.
Yep.
And it was about COVID.
It was odd, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Just barely before we came on, I was looking at the CNN report on it. Like, we made CNN.
CNN found it interesting that we sent out.
That we sent a text out.
Utah's almost as famous as you.
Almost. We have to be on a couple more news agencies before we're too famous.
Yeah.
So his basically the like Michael Bain says, the nut graphs, the what you really need to pay attention to. Please use the next few days to plan for an extended lockdown.
Yeah.
That may be for health, or that may be for just safety and riding.
Or both.
Restaurants, stores, gas stations could be forcibly shut down for a period of time. Stockpile food and fuel for your family. Make sure you have a month's worth of
Toilet paper.
prescriptions.
Yeah.
Water bottles, exactly. Your prescriptions, go fill them this
Yeah.
weekend, not next weekend.
Yeah.
Plenty of fire extinguishers at your home or your business. That
Yeah.
sounds like a good plan.
So
What would you need in order to survive for the next couple of weeks?
honestly, we're fine where we are.
Right. Especially since
The one thing that
the shipment of cookies from Bulldog.
Yeah.
Gator.
One of those cookies is a meal.
It's like a day's worth of calories.
I know. I wasn't thinking about that. Probably 2 days worth. One thing that when I came home from work today, I talked to the wife, and I just said, based on other stress-induced shopping, like early on in the pandemic,
Right.
I said, why don't you go get another case of toilet paper before it's gone? And she's like, there's one in the car, and there's two in the basement. And okay, we're good.
So it's you guys.
Apparently. So are you guys doing anything in the next couple of days because of the election, other than voting, which I've already voted, by the way.
Yeah, me too. Did you vote?
I haven't voted.
Better
Okay.
do it.
Cool.
Is there anything you're doing to prepare for this or want to do?
Well, yes. So I have, concerned about shipping disruptions and so forth. I've stocked up on, medical supplies and all that stuff that I need on a daily basis for being a diabetic patient. And we're, the wife spent a little bit of extra money this week at Shopko, and so that's what's going on.
Like I said, I think we're pretty okay, but I think I'm probably tomorrow still gonna go probably buy a bunch of pasta and stuff like that. Maybe we eat lots of beans and rice, so we already have it all on hand, but it's not gonna hurt to have a little bit more.
My closet is full of backpacking meals because
There
that's
you go.
usually what I have on my backpacking trips.
Yep.
If nothing happens, you'll be prepared for the next winter storm. No harm done.
And that is the key to preparedness, is everything that you do to prepare for something just in case should make your life better, easier, whatever, even if nothing bad happens.
Yeah, even if the world doesn't end,
Yeah.
you're better off.
Yeah. So I would like to know if any of our listeners, obviously it's going to be late news by the time we get it and talk about it, but I'd like to know if they did anything different. I mean, honestly, that Glock 43, that's why I bought it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't need a Glock 43.
Yeah, another question is, do you have the ammo to use it?
Of course.
Like, no one has ammo right now.
That's true. It's tough.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed, in a week, price of Glocks, $100.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
$640 for a
For a
Glock
Glock?
19.
You're kidding.
Mhm.
That's why I didn't buy the 19. That's what I was going to get. But I'm like, I can't do that. The 43 was
Really?
$540 almost.
That's a lot.
It is. But it didn't feel as ridiculous as 640 for a 19.
They need a 30-round mag for that G43.
I was going to say, I have one for the 19. Anyway, something to think about. By the time you're listening to this, it's already too late.
Yeah, let us know how it went.
Hopefully you're still able to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Really. Well, let's jump into let's hit some sponsors. Sorry.
Mag holders.
I got out of step.
I'm going to jump right in
Go for
selfishly
it.
here and talk about some structural changes that we've had at Mag Holder. People who have ordered in the last couple of weeks have probably noticed that the customer service has improved dramatically. That is basically shifted most of the administrative stuff. Even order processing, the new molds require less fiddling around with the with the device before shipping. So my wife has been
Mrs. Mag Holder.
Yeah, Mrs. Magholder has been basically running the business for almost the last month.
Wow.
And she's doing such a better job than I ever did. It's amazing.
Nice. Well, good.
Things are shipped same or next day.
No way.
Instead of twice a week.
Wow.
Yep. So
Impressive.
anyway, she still doesn't really understand all the discount codes. But
Get in the van, I have candy.
Get in the van, I have candy is still our most popular one. It finally is still active for the SIGs. And then How Deep Is Your Love is
that one still working?
Oh yeah, it's still working.
I get people, since you introduced that discount code, which was what, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Or longer?
Right.
I still every now and then get some, How Deep Is Your Love doesn't work. I'm like, it's never was a discount code for me. and I also get people all the time, hey, do you make a mag holder that fits this? Well, I don't make any mag holders, but I'll find out for you.
And then he orders one from me.
Probably, yeah. See, I do all the hard work and you get the credit.
Yep. Concealment Solutions.
So, running a promotion starting when this podcast comes out.
Really?
Probably.
What's the code?
That's the catch. You don't need a code.
Wow.
Spend $50 or more and you're going to get a free Tacticool wallet.
Oh, neat.
Ooh.
So,
Is this like the generation several times ago where, like for your couple of bills and your credit cards?
yeah.
Or is it, that's neat.
So it's just a Kydex clamshell that you shove business cards in or
I've still got
credit
mine.
cards or I ran this promotion once before. It was very popular. It
Cool.
kind of surprised me. But then you can also still use the code Show Me the Candy. Show Me the Candy will give you a discount on top of getting you a Tacticool wallet if you spend $50 or more.
And then finally, we need to talk about Utah air guns.
Utah Air Guns.
That's pretty much all we've talked about for the past 3 months.
We're all very infatuated with
Yeah.
Utah Air Guns.
Basically, UtahAirguns.com. Please go there on the web.
Build your own gun. That's the coolest feature. You can build your own gun. The image changes when you add a feature to it, and unfortunately, so does the price.
Right.
But it's a cool way to figure out what you want.
That'd be cool if you could design a holster like that.
I really wanted my website to do that. It's not a cheap or easy platform.
Okay.
Yeah, ultimately that's what I was going for.
But for air guns, we're not talking. We are talking everything from your Daisy Red Ryder all the way up to something that you're going to hunt hogs with down south.
or Cape Buffalo in
Cape
Africa.
Buffalo. Yeah, seriously.
And everything in between.
No.
So hardcore serious guns over at Utah Air Guns. Use the code AirCandy. Are you seeing the theme here? Air Candy will get you free shipping and free turret stickers for your scope.
Neat.
So those turret stickers are pretty cool. You dial it in, put the stickers where they need to be, and when you're basically you don't need your dope when you're shooting. If you know your distance, click, 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 turn it right to your range, and you're good to go. 'Cause
Well-
it's already marked.
So, how do we introduce our guest?
Well, I have a question.
Ask away.
So, have you always been infatuated with older women, or did this experience kind of ruin that for you?
No, we have. My wife's actually 2 years older than me.
Oh, see?
Excellent.
So cougars have always been something in your life.
There's something always in my life.
So Kyle, if you haven't figured it out yet, Kyle had a YouTube video that I think we can safely say went viral.
It broke the internet.
Broke the internet, where a cougar is, they said stalking you. It wasn't really stalking you. It was
It was trying to eat your face off.
Escorting me.
escorting
The
you
cougar was escorting
out
me.
of the mountains and away from her young cubs. So tell us, how did this start? What was your, I mean, we can see your reaction.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's at least some that wasn't caught on video. I don't know. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, what were you doing up there?
So I normally go on trail runs all the time.
Okay.
So I'm an avid trail runner when I'm not working. Because I'm also very tired. I heard there's a couple guys on the podcast that work at UPS.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
also work at UPS, and yes, it drains you.
It's a life-sucking.
I can second
And we're
that.
getting almost up to the life-sucking season, too.
Oh, it's been the life-sucking season for the past since COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because everyone started buying everything offline, everyone's realized that
Yeah.
you can buy offline. You're like, oh, cool. Anyway, that's a whole other topic, I guess.
Yeah. Support local businesses. Support small businesses. Amazon doesn't need any more of your money. Anyway, carry
Tons
on.
of it. But yeah, so I trail run all the time here in Utah.
Yeah.
And I love that trail going up the Y. I was doing a little loop. So I go up the Y trail,
Mm-hmm.
cut across behind the mountain, and then come down Slate.
Okay.
Okay, so on one side is Rock Canyon, and the other side is...
Rock
So,
Canyon's
no.
quite a ways away.
So Rock
Okay.
Canyon is the other more
Is north.
Yeah, more north.
Oh, yeah, that's... Got it,
So
okay.
you have Rock, the Y Canyon, and then Slate.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going up Y, going across, going down Slate. And that's about full trip, going to be about 10 miles. So I'm like halfway into my trip, see some wildlife. So I'm like, okay, cool, let's pull my phone out, we'll take some video. It's fun to show the wife and my friends
Right.
like what I see on the trail, right?
Right.
And I assumed they were bobcats because I've seen bobcats on the
Yeah.
trail before.
So you come up on two little kittens.
There's actually 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
and
so
you
when I
thought they were
first-
bobcats.
I thought
which-
they were bobcats. I've seen those before.
That would have been...
So you thought they were full-grown bobcats.
So bobcats are pretty
Yeah, they are.
tiny.
Okay.
Like, some of the ones I've seen, actually I posted a video recently on my Instagram with a bobcat, and yeah, they're not big animals.
Right. Okay. So you're playing with the bobcats.
Well,
And then all of a sudden the big bobcat...
thinking is a bobcat, and then once I get 2 steps in the video, you then see that, well, yeah, that's not a bobcat,
Uh-huh.
and Mama Cougar doesn't like me where I'm at.
No kidding.
So, I watched that, I think within 24 hours of you posting it. And it was amazing. And Jason's the one that decided, we gotta reach out to this guy and get him on the podcast. But since then, the entire thing has blown up. You've been both praised and scorned
Yes.
for what happened up there. When I was watching it, I was impressed that you, maybe not verbally, but you kept your cool. I mean, you didn't freeze, you didn't freak out, and you didn't make the situation worse. You did what a lot of wildlife professionals would say is almost the best,
Yeah.
the best possible thing. You stood your ground and didn't make yourself a target.
Other than playing with the bobcats at the beginning.
Yeah, right.
That might have been your downfall.
But and then other people are saying, well, you maybe shouldn't have been there in the first place, or that it was your fault that this whole thing happened. So what's the ratio? Are you getting lit up still, or
So there's always going to be the good and the bad, obviously.
right?
And yeah, everyone can have their opinion.
Right.
Like, that's
Well, the fact of the matter is they weren't there.
yeah.
It's
Everyone.
armchair quarterback.
Yeah, everyone after my video became cougar experts. It's it's been really cool to listen to everyone else tell me about the cougar situation. But no, I've talked to a ton of biologists, and they're like, this video shows a lot of stuff we've never even thought of.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah, I was talking to one, I can't remember his name, I need to go find the podcast I was on, but he was like, if you would have told me a cougar will follow you for 6 minutes and she
Oh,
has
yeah.
cubs, I would have said you're bluffing.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? He's like, no, for real. Like, I never would have thought that in a million years.
So they were thinking that if you survive the first few seconds, the animal is going to disengage and go on its way after apparently the danger is over.
Yeah.
But this one did not do that.
Yeah, well, she almost became asphyxiated on me.
Yeah.
Kind of like a normal house cat would. When they're like playing with a little ball of yarn or something,
Yeah.
they kind of get focused on that one thing. And so I was that one thing. I was the ball of yarn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and what was interesting, because I saw the title of the video, or from news feeds, this cougar stalks this guy, and I'm watching. I'm like, that cougar isn't stalking.
If the
That
cougar was stalking, that would have been a whole different story.
You wouldn't have seen it until it was on your head.
Exactly.
So it was clearly had a purpose, and the purpose was, my babies are here, and you're a threat, and I'm going to make sure you aren't a threat. And she was very intimidating, charged you several times, claws out.
So what I've learned is actually those little pounces that she do is actually called a bluff charge.
Right.
And when you're watching the video, you can actually see she turns her body to make herself look bigger as well.
Yeah.
She did. She wasn't coming directly
She's
at
not
you.
coming directly at you. Yeah, she kept turning her behind, I guess.
She was letting you know she's big and scary.
Exactly. That she's a scary little kitty cat. So yeah, it's actually really cool to kind of hear like all these biologists and people that have studied mountain lions and cougars before saying like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah, so watching the behavior was pretty interesting, but it was clear to me watching that she just wants you out of there.
If she wanted, because we're cougar experts.
Exactly. Well, if she wanted you, if she's like, I'm killing you,
she could have had me.
You would have been dead in the first 5 seconds of that video.
Those cougars take out like elk and deer.
Right.
Yeah.
Here I am, 6 foot tall, 150 pounds. I'm not no big person.
And maybe that's why she didn't. She's like, there's not enough meat on that to warrant the energy it's going to take. The kids are going to complain. This thigh's bony. So when you're shooting the video, I'm just curious what's going through your head. Are you like thinking?
I think we've heard everything.
Are you thinking I'm filming my death?
So,
or does
honestly,
that not even cross your mind?
That didn't really come past. I was so in the moment. I was almost more excited than anything.
Yeah.
Really, because like I've seen tons of wildlife on the trail, but never have I seen a cougar.
Right. Most people don't.
Yeah. Exactly.
Until it's on their face.
We don't want to see cougars.
Right.
I mean, really. But so I was like kind of excited. So kind of the excited feeling took over my fear.
Okay.
And so that's why I kind of like just kept going. I continued to film just because I was already filming. And I almost just forgot about that.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, well, it's going to walk backwards.
Yeah.
And continue to film.
So do you feel like the expletives were helpful? Is that what ultimately scared her off? You got the right combination of F-bombs and...
I don't know.
If you had used like fetch or something like that, we probably would have
Utah substitute.
Yeah, right.
That just happened. It was just in the moment, I guess. And
I don't think it would have been different for most of
anybody.
us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Rise Eye came up and because it really was not. There was not a lot of reaction time for me.
Right.
I saw the cubs and instantly, like honestly, within like 5 seconds, I saw Mom, and so there was like, oh crap, like this is happening. Let's react quick.
Right.
And so it was just me thinking, and all I kind of thought was when I was in Boy Scouts was, okay, big and scary, loud.
Yeah.
And so I just, first thing came in my head was F you.
It apparently works. I mean, that it worked.
Yeah.
So what, at the end of the video, and if you haven't seen this video, look it up. What's the best search to find it?
How do we?
So my original video is on Instagram. My Instagram.
Okay.
It's on Kunkyle, so Kunkyle.
Okay.
On my Instagram, the IGTV, that's where it has all the
Expletives.
expletives and everything like that.
It's the uncut version.
Now, my YouTube does have the clean, beeped out version, which is actually pretty funny as well because
It's mostly silent.
so many beeps. But yeah, if you haven't seen that, I don't know where you've been for the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've been on any social media channels or news channels at all in the last couple of weeks, you should have seen this.
I wonder how many people in the world have actually seen it. I mean, you can look at your own analytics and see how many likes on Instagram and Facebook. You can get that information, but it was, major media outlets and
Reposted everywhere.
everywhere.
I saw one video reposted by a news agency, I can't remember the agency, but it had over 100 million views
Wow.
on their one video. So, I mean, you're talking all these other video people that are posting the video and using my video.
So
They're
pretty
using
much
thousands.
everyone in China has seen it too.
Oh, definitely.
So
I've done interviews with people in Great Britain. I was on Good
Oh,
Morning.
really?
I was going on
Look,
Good Morning
this is
Britain.
you said this was exclusive. We were getting the exclusive interview. What did I pay for? So you've been all over the place then, at least vocally.
There's honestly been, I've probably been in over 100 interviews.
Wow, and you still came on this show. I think that's hilarious.
Well, I do too. So we're really grateful. Thank you.
It's been fun. I love
So,
it.
6-minute long video. At the end, all of a sudden, Mama just turns tail and runs. Did something happen? Did you chuck a rock at her that got her running, or did she just decide, "Okay, you're far enough away, I can take care of
She
it"?
didn't like my swearing.
Yeah, that was it. Is the right combination?
No, what I ended up doing was I ended up throwing a rock.
Okay.
So I was able to bend down, get a rock, and throw in her direction and kind of startle her off.
Okay. That's what it looked like, but I couldn't see.
Because that was in the
anything.
video, that point where she was the furthest away from me. So I was far enough away that I was like, okay, perfect.
I can try to lean down and
grab
grab
the rock. Because, yeah, every other time, that's when she pounced at me.
Right.
Every time I bent down or even just crouched even the slightest or even just looked away,
Yeah.
like I broke my eye contact with her, she
She
pounced.
charged you, huh?
And so I was like, okay, well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's why I just kept going back. So, yeah, at the end of the video is when I pick up my rock and throw it in her direction.
Okay.
So you've mentioned that you've talked to biologists and animal behavior experts and so forth. Have they learned anything? Is your encounter going to change the way that we are told to interact with dangerous nature?
I don't think it'll necessarily change it, but see, the thing with my situation, my encounter, was very circumstantial because most cougars will just go away.
Right.
Yeah.
They see humans, they don't like them. They
Yeah.
just go away, or we don't see them.
Or they
Right.
eat you, one of the
Yeah,
two.
exactly. So it's just the fact that I just happened to stumble upon the cubs at the same time. Yeah, Mama had to defend the cubs. So she's doing what she's supposed to do. And so in my situation, I've been told by a couple people that, yeah, I did what I was supposed to, backing away and not standing my ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I were to stand my ground, she would think I'm attacking her kids, and yeah, she probably would have attacked.
Yeah.
But then with, say, a normal situation, yeah, if you stand your ground against a cougar, supposedly, yeah, that's supposed to scare them away.
But you needed to take yourself away from the trigger that started all this, which were the cubs.
Yeah.
Right.
What have you thought, and have you been trail running since?
Well, I haven't had a lot of time.
Yeah, you've been on the podcast, right?
Been on interviews, got my 2 jobs, so it's just been, yeah, pretty hectic for myself. But I have been up there. Me and my buddy are shooting some YouTube videos. We're going to kind of...
Go look for the cubs again?
No, I don't want to look at the cubs again. But I have talked to... I went up there with the Mountain Lion Foundation recently. And they're putting some game cameras up.
Cool.
And they actually found some... I'll have to show you the pictures. They found some really cool tracks the size of our hands.
Wow.
And so it's actually really fun. They're probably going to come back down in the next 3 weeks. I'm going to go back up with them and check the cams.
Neat.
Cool.
What would you have done differently? There was one time, we're on a gun podcast.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it had
Where's my gun?
Yeah,
Where's
That's what he
my
said.
gun? Yeah.
Where's my gun is what I say.
You were able to negotiate your way out of this without, if you had a gun, would you have shot? I wonder about that.
So if I had my gun, obviously I don't want to shoot the animal. I don't want
Right.
to kill the animal. They're beautiful animals.
They are.
Right.
And they're so powerful. And I'm in her territory, right?
Right.
So if I did have my gun, it would have been a shot off to the left or off to the right, wherever direction, to try to scare her away.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, when I run, I don't have a gun belt on. I don't have straps on. Like, it's just running shorts. And
You need to talk to a good holster maker.
if you've ever tried running with running shorts that are super skimpy, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, good point.
So I think from now on, I'm going to go get a whistle, very loud whistle.
Louder. Good idea.
Interesting.
What about other less than lethal things? Would you have used bear spray? Is that something that makes sense, or?
So I've heard, bear spray can work, and that is what is almost a good coverall. For example, in any situation.
Bear.
Yeah, bear or even the cougar situation. So
or people.
You can use it in anything. Because if I were to spray the mom, she would have just gone off. Like, I don't like this stuff. I'm out.
Yeah. So, and I was thinking about this also. I was in a similar situation with a moose a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
We've talked about that on the podcast. We don't need to bring it up. I didn't have a gun either.
You put your bicycle and your dog in between.
The dog just did a good job distracting, and I got away. But if you had your gun on you and you did shoot that cougar, the outcome would have been very different. I don't think you would. I don't think you would be as popular.
No, exactly.
You know, even if it was defending your life, because we've seen that in other situations. Wasn't there
the governor of Texas shot a coyote with his LCP
at like 50 yards or something like that with a freaking LCP, but it was threatening the dog that he was with, and people just came uncorked on him. So if things had been different and it had gone that way, the whole situation would have been, we would have still had you on our podcast, but nobody else would have.
I'm glad the situation ended the way it did.
Yeah.
I mean, I went home, obviously, without a scratch.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a sweet video.
A great story.
Great story
and
to
it
tell.
only cost you a couple of years off the end of your life.
Yeah, just a couple.
What was your wife's reaction when you showed her that video?
Man.
Okay, so that was the crazy part was, so once the whole video ends.
You thought the cougar was mad.
Yeah.
The other cougar is
The other cougar's mad too. She'll get mad at me for that one. So once the video ends, I end up calling my father-in-law.
Okay.
Because he goes hunting up in Montana and stuff like that. So I kind of thought he might know something about the situation.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I was like, hey, what do? She's not following me right now, but is she going to come back, do you think? But he just said, well, if she has her cubs, she's probably going away, getting the cubs out of danger.
Right.
And taking care of that situation. I was like, okay, sweet. So I'm going to wait here 20, 30 minutes, and I'll head back down the same direction where she was.
That was down. You weren't going up.
Yeah, I'm going into the canyon this whole video.
Oh, I did not realize that. I thought you were coming down the canyon.
No, I'm going up.
Okay.
That's even scarier.
I'm doing a loop, right?
Right. And so you went up the mountain and now you're coming down
and
Slate
you weren't
Canyon.
prepared to add an extra 10 miles onto your trip to get back to your car.
Exactly. Because I'm already halfway, and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's getting dark here in Utah, right?
Right.
So
that would really suck to have to go down that past where you were with her in the dark.
Yeah. So I wasn't too stoked on that, so I was like, I have to go back down that way. So I ended up waiting 20, 30 minutes, grabbed a rock in my hand, stick in the other, headed down about 50 yards in, actually ran into 2 hikers.
Oh.
I stopped them.
Were you big and scary?
Yeah, big and scary. And I stopped them. I was like, hey, did you guys see a cougar? And they kind of look at me like I'm crazy, right? So you have a hiker coming down a trail, sticking
with a rock.
And they're like, no, kind of joking it off. I'm like, no, for real. I pull my phone out, kind of show them the video, and they're like, holy cow, man, that's insane. Good thing I'm not going back that way.
Right.
And so then I felt tons better.
Yeah.
Because they kind
of cleared the trail for you.
That would have been bad if you
I
walked
just
by
kind of went back down, and everything was good.
Wow.
Well, there's obviously some stuff to learn, and I think, you've talked to experts and so forth, but what I've learned from that is that you need to be prepared for stuff to happen when you're not expecting it, and you need to do the best with what you have available.
Correct.
Yeah. You didn't have hardly anything available.
Nope. I mean, you're talking skimpy running shorts, a t-shirt, and a handheld water bottle.
Right.
That's it.
Wow.
And I think another thing is don't ever give up. I mean, you didn't avert your gaze for more than a microsecond, and you had to stay with that with determination to see that through, and that was really impressive.
So that had to have felt like an eternity.
That was
six minutes.
Long 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my dad boxed for a little while when he was in the military, where the rounds are like 3 minutes. I think. He's like, that was the longest 3 minutes every round. He's like, it seems like it goes on forever. So that's pretty crazy. So from what I've taken away from this is, and we've talked about this recently, about less than lethal alternatives, and maybe looking into some bear spray, because I spent a fair amount of time out in the backcountry also on my bike and whatever, and trying to explain shooting something versus fogging it with a spray, which has proven to be sometimes more effective than a firearm.
It's true.
You don't have to,
especially on the bears.
Yeah, well, and you don't have to have as good an aim.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
You can just get that stuff in the air and you sniff it. I mean, it's just like normal pepper spray almost. It's a little less.
Yeah.
Potent, I guess.
I thought it was more potent, but maybe.
I was talking to a couple dudes. I don't know if you guys have seen his video on kind of like my video.
Yeah.
The grizzly guy. And he kind of talked to me about it, and that I think he said it was a little less potent, so it doesn't hurt the animal.
Oh, okay.
But there's a lot more volume and range too, right?
Right. Yeah. So. Maybe that's what it is. So anyway, we thought that'd be an interesting chat with Kyle, which I think it was. Learn some things. You know, if you, again, listeners, if you have stuff that you use, that you carry, you know, obviously you guys up in Alaska are probably carrying 454 pistols and 500 mags and stuff like that, and that makes sense for there. Around here, I think a 9mm is going to take care of 99% of what you might need if you go with a firearm, which I carry a firearm more for the two-legged predators than the four-legged.
Right.
And same.
You know.
Have you ever run into any crazy people on your trail runs?
No, most people. I mean, I run into. I normally don't stop and talk to people.
Yeah.
Because I'm running, but I mean,
busy hiding bodies and stuff. So don't want to disturb them.
I'll let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us, especially considering you're one of the most famous people on the planet right now.
I don't want to say the most. It's definitely dying down right now. So
your 15 minutes of fame is waning. Is that what you're saying?
It is waning. I mean, next week I do have. I don't know if you guys heard Kelly Clarkson's show.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got that coming up, and Dr. Oz as well.
Wow.
Dr. Oz.
So that's kind of fun.
Is he going to do therapy on the?
I don't know.
Are any of these like video TV type things?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Are they virtual visits, or are you going?
It's all virtual.
Cool.
Yeah, I have. TV shows galore. I've already shot for 4 or 5 different TV shows that are coming out in a couple months. No, it's
well, that's old news. They're not like us. We get it fresh right when it happens.
Yeah, right. And we bring it to you live.
Yeah.
So the one thing we have to point people to, maybe not with the kids around, but you got to hit up Aussie Man Reviews. He did a great commentary on this encounter.
That's so funny.
It's great.
There's no beeps.
There's no beeps.
Yeah, all the explicits are there.
That was pretty funny. There's also one that came out, I think, within 24 hours.
They were quick.
They
were super quick on putting that out there.
And I don't know what it was called, but it's the spin on
the cougar thing.
There's an older lady walking down the trail, and to their credit, they studied your video very well because his dialogue was almost word for word as you were coming down the trail.
Good.
But obviously the cougar responds a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Go back to your babies. My babies are in college.
I'm well established.
It was quite hilarious. But
it's funny.
It's funny that it was fun to watch all the parodies and the reviews and everything on it. But yeah, pretty amazing video. You should have held the camera a little steadier.
Yeah, a lot of people are telling me that she ran away because I wasn't shooting in landscape.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah. Remember that next time. Taco would have told you that if he was here.
Yeah.
Should have been in landscape mode. Would have been much better video. Anyway.
Yeah, thanks again.
No problem.
We should probably thank our listeners for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
Make sure you vote. Hopefully this will be published, and be safe out there. Take somebody shooting, maybe not on Tuesday.
If you're not voting via mail, you could listen to this while you're standing in an endless line.
You could say the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. Check out our sponsors' websites, and like I mentioned earlier, holiday season coming up. Try to support small businesses.
Yep.
Small businesses are suffering a lot right now.
Yep.
And I did this week. I could have ordered these boots and got them cheaper on Amazon. I spent a little bit more, but I talked to an intelligent store employee that informed me on them so I could make a good decision, and I was happy to give them my money.
You remember the ogre?
Yes.
I actually bought a pair of boots from the place where he used to work, Basin Sports.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing, local business.
Yeah, support local businesses, support small businesses. Pretty much every one of our sponsors is a small family-owned business. They would all love your support. But anyway, go vote, be safe, take a liberal shooting. All right, so it's very important that after I bring us in that everyone cheers.